Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Grizzly Adams. Alongside me today, my brother, not as Grizzly Adams. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing less hairy than you are. You need a
like
comb? You got to comb that shit, bro. You can't even do this. You need a comb.
Oh, no, I do. I comb it when I'm in the bathroom. Like in the morning when I wake up, I got to comb it down.
Comb it, and you need to dye it because it's fucking everywhere. It's black, white. Those are the only two colors, but
no, there's some red in there too.
Yeah, you need to dye it. I would dye it if I were you.
Nah, bro.
I would leave your head, salt and pepper, and then, go fucking James Harden,
You know what would
That's
be cool?
What you should do.
You know what would be cool is if I dyed my hair all black and then the beard all white.
Go do it. That'd be dope.
or vice versa. Right?
Yeah,
dye the hair all white. Hey man, you're good with graphics and stuff. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Take a picture of this, take a snapshot of me doing this podcast and then, do it both ways. Hair all white, right. Beard all black, or hair all black, beard all white. That'd be pretty cool.
I think you should try it, at least for one episode. It's fucking hair dye. It'll come right off.
No, man, I don't think it works that way.
You want to spray paint it?
Get that mascara spray shit so that it looks thicker?
Bro. Yeah, that'd be dope.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
All right, man. That's enough hair salon talk for this episode.
The only thing crazier than your talk about my beard is your talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we're looking at 9-0. 9-0. They have a 3-game lead over the Baltimore Ravens. You're still going to tell me they're not a contender?
So you're telling me that we're going to get excited over beating a rookie quarterback who didn't have all his weapons and the defense ain't that good? Is that what we're going to get excited about today? Because that's the last game I even want to talk about.
No, I'm not excited about them beating the Bengals. I'm excited about the fact that they've strung together 9 straight wins. They're a contender. They are for real. This isn't week 3 where they won their first 3 games and you say, oh, whatever.
I said they were pretenders back then.
I know, but it's not 3 weeks now, right? Now we're talking about the real deal. 9 games, more than half the season. They haven't had the hiccups, right? Like, even good teams have a hiccup every now and then. They haven't had it. The Ravens are a really good football team. They had a hiccup last night against the Patriots in New England, a not good Patriots team. I'm telling you, the Steelers are for real. You have to stop bashing the Steelers. They're contenders.
Hashtag pretenders all the way, man. I told you, man, listen, cash me in the playoffs. Then we start talking. Until then,
Here's my question. How many teams do you genuinely think could make the Super Bowl right now from the AFC?
We already discussed this. We discussed this already.
How many do you give a legitimate shot?
What, in the AFC?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Besides the Chiefs, I don't see else making the Super Bowl.
You don't give anybody a legitimate shot except for the Chiefs
to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. Well, if that's your, if you genuinely believe that there's only one team that can make the Super Bowl, then yeah, I guess everyone else is a pretender. I disagree with you, but you're crazy.
I just don't see the 9-0 record is nice, but I don't think they are. The Bills are a contender to me.
No, wait a minute.
The Bills seem like a contender.
No. You can't.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are smoke and mirrors, bro.
You can't. No, the Bills are not contenders.
I think they choke in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. I think they choke in the playoffs.
The Bills are not contenders because you said there's only one team that has a legitimate shot to make the Super Bowl, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what you just said. So the Bills would also be pretenders.
If you follow me on Twitter, I have tweeted plenty of times. I got it broken down: Super Bowl, contender, pretender, and dark horse. And the Buffalo Bills, to me, are a contender. Everybody's picking the Steelers because it's the Steelers and they're 9-0.
I'm not picking. So, I'm not picking the Steelers. I'm just saying.
I didn't say you were. I said everybody else is picking the Steelers because they're the Steelers.
I think they have a legitimate shot to make it to the Super Bowl. Just like I think the Chiefs have a legitimate shot, and I think the Bills have a legitimate shot. After that, I don't have a ton of faith in Indianapolis or Tennessee. I have a little bit of faith in Baltimore. They're probably the fourth team that I would throw in there. But that's about it, right? I don't trust the Raiders. I don't trust the Browns. I don't trust the Dolphins. I don't trust the Patriots at 4-5. I don't trust any of these other teams, right?
Yeah, Ed, look. We may not trust some teams, but they're still pretty like the Miami Dolphins are playing really good football right now. Right. And that defense is like legit.
Right.
And I'm not saying they're gonna make the Super Bowl, but that is a team. Listen, bro, this is the fucking NFL. Any given Sunday, the fucking Giants beat the Eagles, who haven't beaten them in like years. Won yesterday.
Right.
This is. We can say that there's going to be teams that are not Super Bowl contenders, but there are teams that can bust a bracket and then just go on a fucking run and maybe not make the Super Bowl, but make the conference championship game. You know what I mean?
But that's my point, right? The Chiefs,
right, but a team like the Dolphins, you're not saying they're going to make the conference championship game, but that's a team that could possibly go on a run and make it.
No, yeah, absolutely. But here's the difference between what I think is a contender to make the Super Bowl and not a contender. I think the Dolphins could score an upset and knock out the Steelers, right? It could happen. Of course, it could happen. They could knock off the Ravens or they could knock off the Chiefs. But I don't expect them. I don't have any faith that Miami can win 2 games in the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl. And actually, in their case, they'd have to win 3 games, right? Because they're not going to get the bye. So that's my point with the Steelers. The Steelers right now are sitting in a position where they only have to win 2 games. And I can see them winning 2 games. I can see them beating the Bills in Pittsburgh. I can see them beating the Chiefs in Pittsburgh. I can even see them going to Buffalo and winning or going to Kansas City and winning. I think they're that good of a football team. So to me, that's a legitimate contender, a team that I can see winning 2 or 3 football games to get to the Super Bowl. And so in that category, I put the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. And the Ravens and the Bills, to me, are tied for 3rd. But I think to me, 1 and 1A, the Steelers and the Chiefs. Look, I didn't believe in the Steelers when they were 3-0. But at 9-0, they've proven they can play week in and week out. They're a damn good football team. They're good on both sides of the ball. They can run the ball when they need to. They can throw the ball for offense. Again, if they stay healthy, man, that is a super tough out for anybody. Could it happen? Of course it could. But that doesn't change the fact that right now, I think they're a legitimate contender to make it to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Yeah, the thing I keep in mind, too, with the NFL is it's a week-to-week league. Like the Ravens right now, like weeks ago, the Ravens were contenders. And right now, I don't think they make it far, bro. I don't think they have it in them. Lamar Jackson's been figured out. They don't have a running game. They've lost a starting tight end last night against the Patriots.
That's a big deal.
I mean, I understand they're 6-3, but I don't know. That's a team that I don't see going very far in the playoffs, and the Bills and Dolphins, I think, are good teams. I think they're good enough to beat the Ravens. The Raiders probably could beat the Ravens right now, maybe.
Again, on any given Sunday, any team can win. I agree with you. But remember, when we're talking about a Super Bowl contender, can you see that team winning 2 and 3 games? Can you see them going on the road and winning after winning a tough game at home the week before? That's where the difference for me comes in between contender and pretender. Obviously, Kansas City can go on the road and win. Kansas City can be at home and win. Kansas City can fall behind 24-3 and win, right? We've seen it. So to me, they're a contender. Indianapolis and Tennessee are too inconsistent for me to say, yeah, they're gonna win 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. Same thing with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are doing well now. The last couple of weeks they've played well. Their defense is playing well. But again, remember, you'd be putting your faith, you'd be calling a team with a rookie quarterback a contender. That means you would have faith in them to go 2 or 3 games and make it to the Super Bowl. And I just don't see that for them. I see them like I saw the Bills last year, a team that's going to make the playoffs, that has obviously taken a step forward, but they're still a year away and need some time to mature. I think we'll talk about Tua next year the way we talk about Josh Allen this year, right? He was your sleeper pick for MVP. He's certainly making his case. He's having a great season. And I think Tua is on that path, but not this year.
The Dolphins are set up so fucking sweet because they're having a good season. They're 6-3. And they hold the fucking Texans draft pick for next season. And the Texans are like 2-7 or whatever the fuck their record are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really set up, and Tua's playing well for a rookie.
Yep. And don't forget,
I'm excited about the Dolphins for next season.
And don't forget, they're in a division where New England's got to do something, or that's 2 wins. The Jets are awful, so that's 2 wins. So they're in a relatively easy division.
Yeah. So
and if they get to play the NFC East next year, that's 4 more wins.
Whoa, slow down. NFC East, slow down.
I'm telling you, I mean, we laugh about the NFC East on here every week, but that's the most exciting division in sports.
I mean, look, if you have a team in that division is exciting. And to me, it's exciting. And I mean,
look, yesterday, the 2 big winners yesterday, the Giants winning a division game and basically tying at the top in terms of wins, and the Cowboys, they didn't lose. They're, right. and the Eagles didn't win to go 2 wins ahead. So the Cowboys and the Giants are the big winners over the weekend. What did you think about that game? I know you watched that Giants-Eagles game from beginning to bitter end.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the Giants – look, I don't like to play the what-if game, okay? But I'm going to play it for the sake of this podcast. If fucking Evan Ingram would have held on to that football on that 4th down to ice the game a few weeks ago against the Eagles, the Giants would have won. I mean, that was a very winnable game, okay?
Yeah.
And the following week, we play the fucking Bucks, and I mean, we were beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I mean, we were beating them
in that game to the very end.
Until the very end. So, I mean, we could easily be looking at 5 in a row for the Giants, and this division might be out of reach. You know
5 wins will put you pretty much at the season win total for the winner.
But, you know, the thing with the Giants, I think it's all about just getting better. And I think the way they've been playing, I think they're getting better. And I think Joe Judge is doing an amazing job. And, you know, they're in contention. And so the Cowboys, you know, I think the Eagles and the Giants have the harder schedule than the Cowboys do. So, I mean, the Cowboys are in it. You know what I mean?
The problem with the Cowboys is the Cowboys don't have a quarterback.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, again, anything's fucking possible. They still have to play the Giants again. They still have to play the Eagles again, I believe. They still have to play the Redskins. I mean, And look, I said it. These division games, you never know how they're gonna go. Look at Tennessee and look at the Titans and the Colts on Thursday night. Everybody had the Titans, or most of the people had the Titans. And in the second half, the fucking Colts just shut them down. So those division games can go either way, man. But I mean, as a Giants fan, I'm excited, especially because the team is not getting. They're looking better. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect us to make a deep run into the playoffs if we even make it. I'm looking a little maybe next year, 2 years down the road. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, no, and I think with the Giants, out of all four teams, they all suck, right? But I think there's the most optimism for the Giants because the Giants are a young team. They've got a young quarterback. And they're getting better. So you see a progression with them. The Eagles are the exact opposite. They have more talent, and yet they continue to regress every week. The Cowboys don't have a quarterback. I think they've got some locker room issues. And then Washington is just flat out awful. I mean, they're just awful everywhere. They're bad on offense. They're bad on defense. They have a great coach in Ron Rivera, but no talent at all. So if you look at those four teams, the team that's having the best season, regardless of where this ends up right now, is the Giants. Even if the Eagles were to make the playoffs eventually, or the Cowboys, or even Washington, I think the Giants are having the best season in terms of what it means for their future. And so that is very, very good. Let's go out to the NFC West. And the reason I want to go to the NFC West is because we had just an incredible football game between the Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. I thought that game was over like 3 different times. The Josh Allen pass in the fourth quarter late in the game, I thought that was it. And it was a hell of a play. But then what DeAndre Hopkins did, my goodness. I mean, Houston fans must have been in tears watching that. That was an incredible catch, 1 versus 3. And he jumped about 8 inches higher than everyone else, or he stretched out 8 inches higher than everyone else, caught the ball at its absolute peak, came down amongst all those arms and legs flailing around and held on to it and won the game for the Cardinals on the last play of the game. Just incredible.
Yeah, that was a great game overall. Credit to Kyler Murray for getting out the pocket and making the throw, because I mean that's getting overlooked because of the catch, but the catch was just so amazing, and the fact that it was over 3 people is just fucking nuts. That was all. I mean that's what D Hopkins does, man. He fucking just catches footballs.
That's catch amazing. Right there, to me, when you look at Arizona at 6-3 sitting atop that division, that catch to me crystallizes this season for the Cardinals and the Texans, right? The Texans could only muster 7 points against the Browns yesterday. Granted, the weather was terrible, but 7 points, and that was late in the fourth quarter. So they basically got shut out for 3 full quarters and change, 3.5 quarters. And their offense has been abysmal throughout the season. And now you've got Arizona, who's putting up a lot of points. I mean, remember a couple of weeks ago, they played a game against the Seahawks where they were behind the entire game and ended up tying it late in the game and then winning it in overtime. So to me, that catch really points to not just who won the trade, but really how these seasons are going for these two teams that made that deal in the offseason.
When I look at the standings, that catch is a difference between the Cardinals currently being the 3 seed to the Cardinals being out of the playoffs right now.
Out, yeah, absolutely.
So that is amazing, and their strength of schedule is the easiest amongst the whole NFC.
The rest of the way,
their strength of schedule is the softest.
The rest of the way,
right, in the whole NFC.
Wow.
So
huge win for them. Huge. I mean, just a huge win for them. Yeah. Just incredible. And that the other thing that game brings up, we talk about Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger, these older guys, but man, we got some young quarterbacks that can really play the game. I mean, Kyler Murray had a great game. Tua's playing well early on. Justin Herbert back out in LA for the Chargers is playing well. Obviously, you've got Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, who are a little more established, but still relatively young guys. I mean, you've got a lot of good young quarterbacks. And we like to talk about the Phillip Rivers and the Tom Bradys and the Aaron Rodgers of the world, but man, we got a crop of young guys that are going to be fun to watch. And that game yesterday showed it to us over and over again with those two guys.
Yeah. Don't forget Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is also having a pretty decent season.
Considering he doesn't have much help around him and a defense that really doesn't help, the defense kind of puts him behind the 8 ball quite a bit. Yeah, I think he's having a real good season. I just hope I just hope he doesn't get the confidence beat out of him.
Well, the Steelers did put him on his ass yesterday plenty of times. The Steelers have beaten the last 3 number 1 overall picks.
See, and you say their schedule's soft. Come on.
So, yeah, and staying in the NFC, and this is where when I say the NFL is a week-to-week league, but with this team, I think there's something to worry about, man. I don't know if this quarterback – I don't know if Russell Wilson can carry the Seahawks. I don't know. I think they don't have a running game. And once you shut down DK Metcalf, that leaves Lockett. I mean, the Rams did a really good job at playing defense against the Seahawks yesterday. And their defense is not very good. So that's a team that kind of worries me going forward, to be honest with you.
Look, Russell Wilson is an MVP caliber quarterback. But, if you get a pass rush in his face and he can't run the ball, it's tough. And that defense is doing him no favors because, again, he's got to go out and he has to feel like he has to score on every drive because his defense is doing 0. And when you face a team like the Rams, right, who have a very good defensive line, who have a decent secondary, it gets real tough. And that's what we saw yesterday, right? We saw a Seattle team that really got shut down. 16 points is not going to do it in the NFL of today.
No.
And they have to find a way to bring back the Legion of Boom because defensively they have a lot of holes. They do not look good anywhere. They get 0 pressure on the quarterback, and that's an issue in today's NFL.
Yeah, that Legion of Boom era, that's long and gone, bro. It's
distant memory.
Yeah.
Now, the other team that I am now concerned about, I wasn't concerned before yesterday, but now I'm concerned, is the Saints. Now, they won their game against San Francisco, a game that they were supposed to win. They won it relatively comfortable. They won by 2 touchdowns, no big deal. However, Drew Brees went down in that game, and come to find out, he has 2 broken ribs. That's a problem because they don't have Teddy Bridgewater to back him up like they did in previous years. They've got Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston was bad in Tampa, and I think he's worse in New Orleans. That team and Taysom Hill he's not an every down quarterback. He's your little, come in, give it a wrinkle, blah, blah, blah quarterback. Without Drew Brees, that offense is sputtering. It's going to sputter. That's a problem.
How many ribs does the human body have?
16? I think 8 on each side.
Well, he'll be fine. He's got fucking 14 other ribs. He'll be fine.
Count them.
Are you counting them? Hold on.
Trying. Hold on. 1,
Hold on. I gotta move my fat out the way. I gotta suck in my stomach.
4, 5, 6, 7.
I failed science, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't take anatomy, so I don't know. But and ribs don't heal like that. Yeah. It takes a little time. Yeah. They're at 7-2. They're sitting atop their division, but they've already used their bye week, right? So now they've got to play 7 more weeks. And
all right, let's see.
Without Drew Brees, it's not going to be pretty.
Well, I think they can get by, Ed. They play the Falcons at Denver, at Falcons, at Eagles, before they play the Chiefs, Vikings, and Panthers. So if they can survive those next 4 games, they should be in the driver's seat for the number 2 seed.
Yeah,
right?
even if they pick up 3 out of those 4, right? That would be 10 wins. You would think that would be good enough to make the playoffs, especially with no wild card coming out of the NFC East.
Yeah. And, I mean, I agree with you about Jameis Winston, but I think the key with them is I think Taysom Hill can be a decent fill-in for a few games, 2, maybe 3, only because – and the only reason I say that is because of who has a hold of the playbook, and that's Sean Payton. I think he really maximizes the use of all of his players. And his playbook is just so out there sometimes that I think that's why they pay Taysom Hill so much money and use him a lot. Again, only as a fill-in, and he can't be an every down – he's not an every down quarterback. So maybe, and like I said, the ease of those next 4 games, they can get by. You can kind of put it on the back burner that, okay, Drew Brees is not here. We can get by. You know what I mean?
I hope so for their sake. Now, the other thing that could happen too is maybe once right now he plays, however many downs, right? 10 to 15 downs a game. And, they bring him in for all the special package stuff. When he's an every down quarterback and he's got to throw the ball, and you mix in those special plays, maybe he's a little bit better. But yeah, it's dicey because those last 3 games are going to be tough.
Now, what I would do if I was the Saints is I would have Jameis Winston take an eye test before every single snap to make sure that his vision is good.
I disagree. I think it's very easy with Jameis Winston. If you're at home and you're wearing black, you tell him you're on the road wearing white. I mean,
that's true.
I think Sean Payton's overthinking it. I think there's a very easy solution.
That's it, huh? It could be. It could be.
We've got the Vikings and Bears tonight in a division that to me is becoming more and more interesting. The Packers lead at 7-2. They won a relatively easy game yesterday against the the Jaguars they played yesterday. And now granted the Jaguars did make it closer towards the end, but still they won. They're 7-2. And you've got the Bears at 5-4. Their bye week is coming up. The Lions at 4-5. They have a bye week coming up. And the Vikings at 3-5. And they've already used their bye week is already come and gone. The Vikings have to get on a run here if they're going to get in the playoff conversation, like I believe they will. And I think it starts tonight against the Bears. Should be a good game. Who you got tonight?
I have no clue, man, because I don't trust the Bears. And, Kirk Cousins on primetime is not too he sucks. He sucks on Monday Night Football. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like, who do I trust less?
Look at this. Kirk Cousins is 0-9 with 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on Monday Night Football.
That's not
2-3 career record versus the Bears. Both games he won against the Bears, he did it with the Washington football team. And he's lost his last 3 starts versus the Bears as a Viking.
Sounds like the Vikings are going to win this one easily.
I mean, I would lean Vikings because I think they have the better team. I just don't know if they have the better quarterback right now.
They may not have the better quarterback, but I tell you what they do have that's better, Dalvin Cook. They've got the best running back on the field, and that guy has been running like a man possessed, and that is what I am hoping happens tonight so that my pick last week that the Vikings would make the playoffs comes true.
They will definitely need this game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you got to have it because now all of a sudden you're behind the Lions and the Bears, pretty much.
Pretty much at any point in your life, if you're behind the Lions, you can't talk about the playoffs. You have to talk about passing the Lions first. Then you can talk about the playoffs. If you're behind the Lions, you're not making the playoffs because the Lions aren't making the playoffs. Lions haven't made the playoffs since 1962.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Did they even make the playoffs with him?
I think, 94, I think they lost. I can't remember if they beat or lost to the Eagles. I think they played the Eagles in the first round.
I don't know. It's been forever. That franchise is awful.
Oh no, actually wait, the Lions made the playoffs a couple times in the 2000s against the Saints and the Cowboys. Now they lost both of those games, but they made the playoffs. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they haven't won a playoff game since 1962. I don't know. Right. It's been a long time. I just don't put the Lions and playoffs in the same conversation. I put the Lions and Thanksgiving Day in the same conversation, but I don't put Lions and playoffs in the same conversation.
Right. Yes. That is a good way of putting it.
Hey, going back to the let's bounce back to the AFC. So I got two questions for you about the Browns. One, do you think they're for real? Two, how angry do you think people were that A, bet on the Browns minus 4.5, and B, had Nick Chubb on their fantasy team?
I'm going to answer your second question first because I think it's more interesting than, talking about how good do we think the Bears are. But if I was in those shoes, if I had the fucking Browns and Nick Chubb on my fantasy squad and I lost by, 5.5 points, I would be really pissed off. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Dude, when I saw that, the first thing I thought about was you. I think it was a couple of years ago. You had Alvin Kamara on Monday night, and you were like 0.4 points behind, and you lost by 0.3 points because Alvin Kamara, I think, had 2 yards on the ground, and that was it. And I remember, I don't play fantasy football because I'm a grown-ass man. So, I laughed at you for caring about fantasy football, and then B, I laughed at you for losing like that. I thought it was hilarious. And that was the first thing I thought about when I saw that.
Yeah, I haven't forgiven Sean Payton yet. Maybe one day I will. But yeah, no, I would be pissed, bro. I mean, doesn't he have a touchdown incentive in his fucking contract? Like, come on, bro.
That was hilarious.
On top of that, the Texans don't have a timeout, okay?
Right.
So, in his mind, let the time run out. Well, this idiot runs out of bounds to stop the fucking clock.
Right.
You still got to run a play.
He should have turned down the 1 yard line, ran across the field until someone hit him, and he'd have fallen into the end zone. And then everybody would have been happy.
That's right. Nah, I would have been mad, bro. I would have been mad. Absolutely. Wouldn't you be mad?
Oh, I'd have been irate. I would have been irate. I'd have been like, that's unfucking believable. Texans fans had to be like, I'm surprised they didn't have a parade for Nick Chubb today. Texans fans that bet on that game were like, yeah.
Yeah, I would have hopped on a flight to Cleveland and find out where Nick Chubb is staying and be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
And the funny thing is, when he was running down that sideline, because it was a long run, it was like a 60-yard run, he's running down – he is hauling ass, right?
Yeah.
No one is catching that guy. He's running it like, oh, yeah, I'm going to hit pay dirt. And then at the very last second, he dips out.
He's like, nah.
Cleveland minus 4.5 fans, or I should say bettors, were like, yes!
Well, the same thing with the Bills and Cardinals game. That was a bad beat. If you took the Cardinals -3 because they went for a kneel down on the extra point.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that spread was 3.
I think it was. I saw it at 2.5 at one point, which would have pissed people off even more, right?
Right,
at least at 3, you're like, okay, I'm gonna tie.
Right.
But at 2.5, you're like, I'm gonna win, huh?
I said it's called a push.
Yeah. Tie, push, whatever.
But bad. That's part of gambling for you.
Back to my original question: are the Browns for real? They are at 6-3 right now. I believe they are in a playoff spot. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, they're tied for that wild card. There's 5 teams at 6-3. They're one of them. I don't know how the tiebreaker shakes out, but they're obviously pretty close. Are they for real? What do you think?
Well, Baltimore wins the tiebreaker over Tennessee and Cleveland. Okay, so Cleveland would be the number 8 seed. Now, if there is a
hold on, Alex. So just to recap, you've got the Colts, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Titans, all at 6-3. The Browns and the Titans would be on the outside looking in. So my question to you again, are the Browns for real? Do the Browns make the playoffs?
All right,
Call your shot.
Here's my hot take. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely contenders. They are Super Bowl contenders. They are better than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They can't be contenders. They can't be Super Bowl contenders. You said the only team that can make the Super Bowl ahead of the AFC is the Chiefs. Therefore, there are no contenders other than the Chiefs.
No. The Chiefs are Super Bowl contenders, and then there's contenders to be good, and that's the Cleveland Browns.
Contenders to be good?
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Cleveland. No, I don't even see them really pulling off an upset. You know, if they were to make the playoffs, they would have to play the Chiefs, Bills. I don't think they could beat any of those teams, bro. Maybe Baltimore. They could probably beat Baltimore.
I disagree. I don't think they can beat. Out of all those teams that we named that are in the playoffs, I don't think they could beat any of them. Maybe the Dolphins, but that's about it.
You know, with the new rule, in case they have to reschedule a game, they're going to add an 8th team. The Browns would make the playoffs right now.
That'd be great. I think they should I think they should have 8 teams. I think the whole thing about having 7 and 1 team gets a bye, either have 6 and have 2 teams get a bye, or have 8 and no one gets a bye. I think I don't know why they went to 7. Just go straight to 8. You know you want to anyway. You know you're going to.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess either way doesn't bother me. This way doesn't bother me. I mean, you know, if you have been the best team in the NFL, right? Best record or whatever, and you get, you're the only team that gets a bye, then that's fine. I mean, I really don't care. It's whatever.
Oh well. Anything else?
But yeah, I can't see the Browns really going anywhere. So
I don't think so. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to do it.
So out of those 6-3 teams, besides the Browns, don't count the Browns because they're not in the playoffs. Out of those 6-3 teams, right? Colts, Raiders, Dolphins, Ravens. Which team do you see going the furthest? The furthest, right? Like, I guess winning at least one game.
Well, I think to me it's the Ravens. I think the Ravens are the best team in that group of 6-3 teams, and here's the real tiebreaker for me. They're the best coached team out of that group. And so when you get to the playoffs, to me, that means a lot, right? When you have a coach like John Harbaugh, I think that's very important, and that goes a long way. So for me, it's easy. Out of those 6-3 teams, I like the Ravens the most. I like Tennessee because I know they can run the ball and they have a good coach as well. I like Indianapolis because they have a good offensive line. They can run the ball, throw the ball, and they also have a good coach. So to me, those three teams are pretty close. But my favorite, or I should say the one that I have the most faith in, would be the Ravens.
The Ravens, huh? Well,
How about
they
you?
would have to play. They would have to play the Chiefs in the first round. That's a tall task right there.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That would be tough. Out of those four, ooh, the Dolphins kind of scare me, bro. The Dolphins would be a team that I would not like. If I'm the Colts, I don't want to play the Dolphins because that would be I would not want to play the Dolphins. That defense, I think, is really legit. Brian Flores from the Belichick tree is doing a heck of a job, man. I mean, that was they finished pretty decent last season in the second half, and
yeah.
So
and here's the other thing you got to remember: they really are a team to look out for because their schedule: Jets, Bengals, then they have to play the Chiefs. That's a tough one. Patriots, which is winnable. Raiders, and then the Bills to finish off the season. So they get to build a little more momentum with the Broncos and Jets before they get into the tough part of their schedule. And, it'll be real interesting to see how they fare come December against the Chiefs. And the game against the Raiders could be basically a playoff game in week 15 or week 16.
Yeah. Wow, anything can happen with those 6-3 teams because as easy as the schedule that you just ran off on the Dolphins, the Colts have the Packers, Titans again, then the Texans, and then the Raiders. So,
wow, the AFC is going to be fun. There's a lot of good teams there, and unfortunately, two of them are going to be on the outside looking in. And don't blink because the Patriots are 4-5. And remember, they've gone through a lot of this COVID stuff, but now they're coming out on the other side of it. And they still have the Jets on their schedule. So, they may have some easy games in tow as well. The problem is they got to make up 2 games. But, I mean, they've got the Texans next week, then the Cardinals, which is a tough one. But then they've got the Chargers, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Bills, and they finish off with the Jets. So, they have a few easy games in there, but they have a few tough ones. But again, that's a team I think that's getting healthy.
I mean, but I think the way we have to look at it is what's it going to take? Like, how many wins are they going to need to get in? Because they have a lot of teams ahead of them. Over. Yeah, I mean, you're looking. What are they? 4-5?
Yeah.
Shit. They may need to win
5.
They may need to win 10 games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have to go 6-1 the rest of the way. That's a tough road to hoe.
Maybe 9-7, right? Finish 9-7.
Maybe, because remember, those teams above them are going to play each other as well, and so they're going to beat each other up. The Raiders seem to play everyone in that group, so I think the Raiders have probably the toughest road.
So let's say 9-7 sneaks them into the playoffs. They can beat the Texans, the Cardinals. Do they beat the Cardinals, the Patriots? That's
Where's that game?
Huh? It's in New England.
Yeah,
I kind of think the Patriots.
They could win that game.
They should be able to beat the Chargers. That's 3-0 right there. At the Rams, I don't think they're beating the Rams. I think the Rams are.
Yeah, not in L.A. And
then they got to go to Miami after that.
That's a game they could win. They beat Miami earlier in the season.
That's the third game on a back-to-back. That's the third road game back-to-back.
That's tough. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough road, but I think they're gonna be a tough out for people to get around. Like all those teams that have to play the Patriots, they're not going to want to see the Patriots at that point in the season because, again, I think that's a team that suffered with the COVID early on, and I think they're starting to get healthy. and that's gonna make them a tough out again.
1, 2. Let's see. Win, 3, 4. Yeah, I think they get to 8 wins. 8-8. That's what I'm predicting for them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be a bit of a miracle if they pulled it off, but again, they're not a bad football team. They've got a great coach. They're getting healthy. Strange things could happen.
That's right.
You never ever know. What else you got in the NFL?
I guess are we done with the NFL? I don't know what else.
No, I'm just wondering. Yeah, I'm just wondering if you had anything else that I think we've touched on just about everything.
What do you think about these James Harden rumors to the Brooklyn Nets and possibly the Philadelphia 76ers?
There is nothing in the NBA that would make me happier than James Harden to the Nets. As much as you troll Houston fans about James Harden, for him to end up on the Nets and you have to root for him, poetic justice. I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah, I'm praying to God it doesn't happen because I just don't want to see it happen, and I really don't want to fucking root for the guy, and I'm probably not going to root for the guy. I don't want him on the Nets. I don't want him on the Nets. I don't want him on the Nets.
I believe that, but if he ends up on the Nets, you're rooting for him.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, no, I can't. I don't know. That's going to be hard. Trust me, it's going to be hard.
You're going to root for him just like you do root for Kyrie and Kevin Durant. You're going to root for him. Look, there's going to be a small part. There's going to be a small part of you that's going to be like, I hope Kyrie hits the winning shot and not James Harden. But when James Harden hits the winning shot, you're going to be like, yay, James Harden.
When Kyrie Irving and or Kevin Durant hit the game-winning shot, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, that's KD. When James Harden hits it, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be cheering for what's on front of the jersey. And that's for the Brooklyn Nets, and that's it.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's going to go. When Kevin Durant hits the game winner, you're going to be like, I love KD. When James Harden hits the game winner, you're going to be like, I love the Nets.
You know what's going to happen? Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are going to go down. They're going to miss the whole season, and James Harden is going to fucking carry the Nets to a title.
A title's a title, man.
I 100% am against that trade, that move for the Brooklyn Nets. I think it really benefits the Rockets.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm the Rockets, I mean, you almost got to do it. But the Nets, I don't think that's what they need right now. I think it would benefit more the 76ers making that move. I think him and Ben Simmons would be a really good backcourt.
Who do the Sixers trade for him?
I mean, Embiid's got to be the top piece, right? And then you just trade away other pieces.
You really think a Simmons, Harden, Batman, and Robin works? I don't think so.
Yeah, because I think we've seen that the Embiid and Simmons, Batman and Robin doesn't work. So
I agree with you there.
Maybe now, you know, you got a player like James Harden who can put up points and now can run the court with Ben Simmons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ben Simmons is a really good basketball player. He's got the one fault that is something you can't shoot, but that's something you can develop. He's got so many other intangibles. He's a good fucking basketball player.
He's a good basketball player in spite of the fact that he can't shoot, but he will never develop a shot, and therefore he'll never be a great player.
Yeah, I don't think he really needs to shoot the ball that much, you know. And now with Harden on the team,
well, yeah,
you know, you need to shoot. You know, he doesn't need to shoot it at all. And you know, I think that would be a nice move. And the Sixers need to unload Al Horford's contract too, because he's making a shitload of jack. I think the Sixers can make some moves that can, benefit Ben.
Here's the thing. For the Nets, I think it's a terrible move. I barely think that Kyrie and KD can coexist because of the egos. If you throw another ego and another person who needs the basketball, I think you're going to have problems. I just don't think that will work in Brooklyn. I think it's a terrible idea for the Nets. And for the Sixers, I think the Sixers need to get rid of Simmons, not Embiid. But the problem is no one's going to want Simmons, not for what the Sixers are looking for. If Harden goes over there, if Harden goes over to the Sixers and they lose Embiid, the Sixers have just become the Rockets of the East. A good team that's just not gonna go far.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. You also got to remember, Doc Rivers is there, and he may not win an NBA final, but he finds a way to keep teams in the playoffs somehow. So, I think that could work out. I think Simmons is the keeper, bro. I think Simmons is the keeper.
I just don't think he's going to be a great player. I mean, how many years has he been in the league now? 4?
He might be going into his 4th.
And he still can't shoot? I mean, isn't that kind of like an important thing for a basketball player? That's like saying a baseball player can't throw. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than Embiid being out for, 20-plus games a year. I mean,
it's different, right? That's an injury issue, right? That's a different issue. But I mean, like, how can people talk about this guy being a key component of a basketball team and he can't shoot? And I'm not talking about he can't shoot 3-pointers. He can't even make mid-range jumpers. How does that happen?
I agree with you, but that is something that he can develop and get better at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Alex,
shooting.
It's been 3 years, and he still hasn't gotten any better.
Well, I mean, he actually shot a couple threes last season, so he's progressed, and he's made one. So it's a progression.
If he plays another 80 years, he'll make one a game.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's not so bad. Watch out, man. I think Ben Simmons is I think he'll really develop in the coming years. Like next season. I think he'll really start to shoot the ball more and get comfortable doing so. So we'll see. I'm excited for the NBA because this is the time of the year where fucking rumors start flying, trades start happening. Chris Paul is now in fucking Phoenix with Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I think that's a pretty nice move for Phoenix. I mean, I don't know.
That is a good move for them.
It's not going to make them contend. I mean, they may be contenders. I don't know. But it's not going to make it an NBA Finals team. But, I mean, it definitely takes the load off Booker. So,
yeah,
I'm excited for the NBA.
I think that is a good move for the Suns.
Yeah.
And, that's a very young team. Having that presence of Chris Paul, a proven leader, I think that'll help. That'll help the development of that team.
Did you see all the picks that the Thunder got back or that they have stacked from now till 2026?
How many?
I don't know the exact number, but I think they have something like 17 first-round picks.
Wow.
Now, that is all fine and dandy, but collecting assets only gets you so far. Like, unless you think you're going to draft – unless you believe you're going to draft the next – MJ, LeBron, Kobe in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like the next Durant, the next Kyrie.
Here's the thing. If they have if they have 15 first-round picks over the next 5 years, obviously at some point, I mean, they've got them spread out, right? So they could pick up a LeBron or an MJ type of player, right, if they see one. But also you can package that for – a current asset, right? A
Right,
real, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but a Giannis or whomever, right? So it's possible that I mean they're not gonna use all those picks, not in the draft. They're gonna package it and get something else for it at some point. There's no way they're gonna draft that many first rounders. That would be insane. Imagine what they did. A full roster of first round picks.
Now that you mention Giannis, I wonder if the fucking Thunder try to package up some picks and say, maybe just pick up just to test the waters, right, with the Bucks and see what they do.
I mean, I don't see why not. It's worth it.
And actually, I think that would be a perfect place for Giannis because those fans, I mean, they fucking loved Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a bad place to go.
It's not a bad place to play. The problem is it doesn't have a good reputation, right? It's not like Miami or LA or Boston for some reason. So who knows? Who knows? All right, man. You ready to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up.
All righty. As always, folks, if you want to reach out to us and talk football or basketball or baseball or any of the sports, or you want to talk about hair color, whatever, you can email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com, positivesports10@gmail.com. If they want to get a hold of you, Alex, how do they do that?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 1.
And you can reach me on Twitter as well at eMontana21. With that, we've come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening, watching, however it is that you choose to consume this podcast. I hope everyone has a great week. We're barreling down towards Thanksgiving. Please stay safe out there. And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.